7 years ago, I was married to my dear ex. We were together for 6 years at this point. I thought we had a great relationship prior I received a nice inheritance. I used the money first to buy a condo for us to live, a new car for her, because hers was falling apart as a thank you for her constant support over the years, and the rest went to starting my own company. I thought we loved each other. We had talked endless times about kids. We both wanted a family. One day I came home from work. She was seated in the couch and signaled for me to seat with her. Then she told me she was pregnant. I was happy for like half a millisecond when I realized about the impossibility of this happening because we were both cis women. I started to cry for what it meant. Then she started to cry and say sorry, but that this could be a good thing now. Incredulously, I asked how on earth could this be a good thing. She said that this could be the perfect opportunity for us to have the family we always wanted. I didn't have the energy to argue at that moment, so I went to pack some things and told her I was going to be staying with my cousin for a few days and come back to talk. I was a complete disaster with my cousin for a week. Then I returned, said I wanted a divorce, packed all the rest of my things while she tells me that she can't do it without me, and that I'm abandoning our child. I said nothing. I couldn't speak. I didn't have it in me to do anything but pack and leave. In the divorce, I let her have the condo. Her card was on my name. She demanded alimony. I gave it to her for a year even though she wasn't really entitled to it. She demanded child support, but was denied for obvious reasons. A year later, it was done. A month before the divorce was finalized, I met a woman. I wasn't sure about dating, but my friends encouraged me to get back out there, so I did. It was slow. I told her about my past. She felt really bad for me. We went on dates. We kissed. Then she stopped responding my texts and calls for a week. I didn't know what was happening. She then shows up at my home looking sad. She tells me she's pregnant, to which I think not again. But she quickly explains that she found out a few days ago. She had an appointment that day and was told she was about 16 weeks along, that she did not cheat since we had known each other for 3 months, that she knows this might be somehow triggering for me, that she really likes me but understands if I want nothing to do with her and left. Ultimately, I couldn't let her go, and we stayed together. The whole ordeal was a bit confusing at first, but we worked it out. Now my company is on the rise, and it's been for years. We bought a house, got married, had 2 more kids, a dog and a cat. Her family loves me. My family loves her. But then last Saturday my ex had to appear again. We are in a family gathering on my wife's side, when she showed up to wife's aunt's house to expose me as a horrible person who abandoned her wife and child and left them with nothing to go start a new family with a whore and raise someone else's child, and that since I have money I have to start paying the overdue child support and blah blah blah. Apparently she befriended my wife's cousin's wife in PTA, told her about me, she gave my name, and wife's cousin's wife was shocked and appalled by my actions and decided they were going to confront me in the family gathering for everyone to hear and show them the evidence. My wife tried to argue back, but was cut by her aunt cousin's mom, and in not a very nice way kicked us out with a promise to take my treatment of my ex public and ruin my company. We left stunned, and my wife vowed she was going to start World War II if anyone dared to slander me. On Sunday morning, we got a call from my wife's dad, aunt's brother, to talk about what the texts and voicemails they were receiving were about. They didn't go to the gathering. We went over for lunch and explained everything that happened. They knew I got divorced in the past, but I never told them why. They were understanding of the situation, but my mother-in-law still said that since I do have money, I should help my ex out, pay the child support, get her a place if she needs it, and be a parental figure in my ex's daughter's life. After all, the child was conceived during your marriage. She has some odd spiritual beliefs. My wife is now mad at her mom for saying that my wife's siblings are mostly on our side, except one who's close to cousin, and cousin believes his wife. And we've been ignoring the extended family. Update 1. First, I want to clear some things. I saw a lot of people got fixated on the fact that I gave the condo to my ex. I get it. But in the moment I was just so low. I still had some love for her too, I guess. And I wanted to get rid of everything. So I thought, well, she will need a place for her and her child, and it will be faster to just give it to her. So I did, even against my lawyer's advice. My wife did not cheat on me. She slept with someone weeks before we even met. Then we met. A month after that, we went on our first date. 2 months into our relationship, she finds out she was pregnant. We talked and moved forward, but slowly. We didn't move in together the next day. We just stayed together to see how things would go. It could have ended at any time. But it didn't, and we moved in together when kid was almost a year old. Mother-in-law has some weird spiritual thing with some of her friends going on since forever. It never bothered me really, but I do think some of her views are questionable. I did mention to her that I gave my ex the condo. She said, but you don't know if she still has it. Someone said that that's what she thinks because she cheated on father-in-law. And my wife, or her siblings, may be a product of that. Honestly, I don't feel comfortable bringing that up with my wife right now, or anyone for that matter, so I won't do that. Okay, so a few things happened. I got all the documentation about the divorce. I made copies and handed them to my wife's family and made sure everyone could see the whole thing. I got some mixed reactions. There were people who told me they knew my ex was clearly crazy from the beginning and said next to nothing because they thought it was obvious, but that those who believed her were just as crazy, so talking to them would be like talking to a wall. So they just move on. They did apologize for not saying anything. They didn't think it could be so detrimental to me when it's clearly fake. I'm not mad at them now. With most of them, we're not exactly close. They're extended relatives. Others did believe my ex at first because she had evidence, but after showing them my documents they apologized profusely and said they would support me suing her and be witnesses and such. And then there were those who still believe my ex, like cousin's wife, aunt, and a few others who are close to them, that accuse me of falsifying documents. Brother-in-law, who's close to cousin, has said nothing about anything. He doesn't seem to be on their side, but did not admit he was wrong either, just silence from him. I filed a restraining order. The temporary one was denied, but I have a hearing schedule. I had a meeting with one of my biggest clients last week. We've known each other for a long time. Professionally, we're not friends, but he knew I got divorced years ago. When he arrived at the reception, I received him and asked him to follow me. He stopped me and said someone went to his office and told him about me abandoning a child, and asked me if it was true. I said it was false, told him a brief recap, and offered to show him my divorce documents. He said it was not needed. He trusts my word and offered his help if I need it in the future. We moved on to our meeting. I was really pissed that she actually went for my business, but then something even worse happened. My lawyer has been drafting a cease and desist letter, and I was debating whether I should just sue her or wait for the letter. Then Saturday happened. I took my kids to the mall to buy some things for summer. School classes are over, but their school still has some activities during the week, and there's a big event next weekend, and other things we needed to buy things for. We went and left my wife at home to relax. It's getting harder for her. When we came back, I gave the kids some bags and told them to go inside with them. Mama has a snack for them. I would handle the rest. I do a few trips in and out of the house, and when I'm finishing unloading the trunk, I hear Mommy. I turn around and there was a little girl standing there. I was confused. The girl seemed scared. Then I see my ex approaching. She tells the girl yes, that's what she was supposed to be. The girl was still and silenced for the rest of the exchange, but my ex went off on me. I'm paraphrasing here, but this is basically the exchange. Ex: I can't believe you wouldn't want to be in her life. She's an amazing kid, an innocent kid that did nothing wrong. You just abandoned her, and for what? For a random whore who sleeps with everyone, gets pregnant, and then makes you responsible for her kid. Me: wasn't it you who tried to do that? Ex: I was not a random chick. It was different. Me. Yeah, the difference is that she did not cheat on me, and I chose to be responsible. She didn't try to force me. X. That doesn't make it fair. How could you not think of her points to the little girl? Will you bring kids from the street and care for them in reference to our two older kids being adopted? Your kids go to private school, while I have to move for her to go to the school I want her to go to. Is she invisible to you? Me. Are you nuts? Please leave. I don't have time for this. X. What? You don't want your perfect little family see who you really are. Me. You leave or I call the police. X. As if you would do that. Just be reasonable for once and we won't have any more problems. Then my wife came out of the house. Wife. I already called the police. They're on their way. I suggest you leave before they arrive. Me. Come inside. I grabbed the last two bags and went inside. Through the window, I saw my ex grabbing the little girl by her arm rather harshly and drag her to her car. Then she left. Now. I'm actually worried about the girl. The police showed up. We talked to them. Showed them footage. We have cameras. Even footage from my car. I filed again for a temporary restraining order and was approved. So that's good for now. I told my lawyer to forget about the letter. I'm suing her ass. And I can confirm she doesn't live in the condo anymore. I'm not sure what happened to it, or where she's living but we'll see. Update 2. Hello again. It's been a few weeks. Ex haven't showed up at my door again since last time. Thank the universe. She did, however, showed up at my office looking for me last Monday, but I wasn't there, as I'm now working mostly from home to help my wife, who's in bed rest for the foreseeable future due to complications with the pregnancy. I went to the office on Thursday, and as I was leaving to go home, my ex's sister was waiting for me. We were close back then, but cut contact when the whole cheating happened, and my therapist basically advised me to. Anyway, she said she has been coming for a few days and waiting outside, hoping to see me, and she needed to talk to me and was really important. So we went to a cafe nearby and told me what my ex has been up to since the divorce. She sold the condo about 1.5 years after the divorce was finalized and moved to a house. She's renting it. She said ex said it was a quick way to make money to buy all the stuff a kid would need growing up. As the time went on, her family saw stranger than normal behaviors in her. I'm not going to go into much detail, otherwise we'd be here a long time. But essentially she was diagnosed with bipolar disorder about 2 years ago, and was treated for a bit, but then she stopped. I talked to my lawyer. He said that makes some things tricky, as she could defend not guilty by reason of insanity, but the fact she has been refusing treatment for a while now would help my case. Sister said that she's sorry for how ex is acting, and she would help me with whatever I need with the case. She's still around her sister to try and mitigate her episodes for the sake of her niece. I asked why CPS hasn't got involved, and she said her parents are butting in for that to not happen. I couldn't stay longer. I had to get home before my sister-in-law had to leave. So we exchanged numbers and will be in contact if needed. That's all for now. I have the hearing for the permanent restraining order this week, so hopefully that goes well. Edit 'cause I forgot. Sister said ex let it slip that she's not sure who the bio dad is 'cause she slept with 4 different people, 3 guys, around the time the kid was conceived. When I learned this, I felt even more stupid that she was just sleeping around and I had no clue. Update 3. The youngest of our bunch was feeling excluded, always being in that same little room all the time, and she decided to come out earlier than expected. Mixed with the NICU stay and school starting, I feel like I would like to sleep into the next year. But thankfully, everyone is doing great now. Onto my ex. The anxiety levels I was managing were off the charts back then. They are still high, but I can breathe. Basically, there was silence for about 2 weeks, and then I got a call that she attempted to cash out a fake check in my name. I have no idea how she found my bank, but just like the fertility clinic documents, the check was clearly fake and didn't fool the clerk. She was arrested immediately. Right now, she's in a psychiatric facility receiving treatment. I'm not sure how long she'll stay there, but once she's out, she's going to trial for check fraud, and from what I've been told, it doesn't look good for her. On the other hand, her parents are aware that I was planning to sue her, and that I have evidence of another forgery crime committed by her. They begged me not to pursue them since that would likely send their daughter away for longer. Maybe unpopular, but I made a deal with them that somehow they would make sure that everyone she defamed me to will know the truth. I don't want to deal with this right now, so I accepted. So far, so good. In regards to the girl, I'm happy to say she's with my ex-sister-in-law right now. I won't go into detail, but it seems that there's no way for my ex to get her back in the future. Even though it's not my business, I let my ex-sister-in-law know that if her parents try to get the girl, I will help her with that. My wife and I are also taking some distance from my mother-in-law. It seems that my ex befriending the cousin was a coincidence that they both decided to use for their own advantages. The cousin and the aunt just used my ex's lies to get revenge on me, since apparently they work harder than me to make less money than me, and it's not fair.